breakthroughs in science and technology, advancements in business and beyond. Join us as we educate, enlighten, and entertain. This is Innovations.
Hi, I'm Ed Bagley Jr., and this is Innovations. Rapidly evolving technology plays a role in every aspect of our lives, from how we communicate with family members to how we receive medical treatment. Learn more next.
It has been estimated that up to 800,000 soldiers, sailors, Marines, and airmen have returned from our current conflicts with what is being called the silent signature wounds of war.
I was a mobilized reserve officer, brigadier general, assigned to the U.S. Embassy in Kabul, Afghanistan. Our four-vehicle convoy was hit with an improvised explosive device. The most traumatic injury was I have a traumatic brain injury. Basically incapacitated. I was a classic walking wounded. I could walk, I could talk. I couldn't remember anything. But as far as symptoms, I couldn't sleep. Headaches were a major problem also. In discussions, for instance, with either my wife or one of the medical providers or another, and they'd refer to a different medical provider, I'd have no clue who it was, even if I had had an appointment with them that morning. I saw several young soldiers at Walter Reed who were there without a spouse or there without a parent. And they had a tremendous difficulty, not because of the Army, but because of the injury. They had difficulty navigating the system. My wife, literally as a caregiver, had to give me my pills. I mean, I could read a pill bottle. I could tell you what the word said, and it didn't mean anything to me. So if my wife didn't hand me a pill and say, take this pill, I wouldn't know whether to take one or two or when to take them. And at that point, I had multiple pill bottles for multiple maladies. I mean, it's really a challenge. The caregiver plays a tremendously important role. I mean, I didn't need to be in a hospital bed. I didn't need that level of care, but I needed constant attention.
When we were at Walter Reed, we were around so many wounded warriors, hundreds, probably 1,000. And many of them were amputees. Their wounds were very visible, but those warriors also had the silent, invisible wounds, and many of them were not being addressed at all.
While Rob Guzzo returned from combat physically unscathed, he lost his battle with PTSD on Veterans Day, November 11th, 2012.
Rob was deployed to Ramadi, Iraq in 2006, 2007. When he came back, I noticed the first few moments that I was with him after his return that he just seemed to be a different person. He had difficulty sleeping. He had profuse night sweats to where he'd have to change the sheets the next morning. He had flashbacks and nightmares. And then when he was back, about 6 months after he got out of the Navy, he developed seizures. So that was indicative that there was something going on with his brain. He was on just so many medications. He was on medications for depression, for anxiety. He was on medications to make him sleep at night. He was on medications for anti-seizure medications once he had the seizures. He was on medication for high blood pressure. His personality was just so different on all these meds. I unfortunately have experienced that call to hear that your son has taken his own life. And the consistent theme that I have seen is the veterans lose hope. Hyperbaric oxygen therapy certainly provides hope to veterans.
Hyperbaric oxygen therapy can be defined as oxygen under pressure for post-concussion, traumatic brain injury, and PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. 1,600 treatments. They were all successful, no complications. And I would say probably 90% of these men and women they had a new life when we finished hyperbaric. They were able to function at their pre-injury status, and even the ones that didn't get completely well, they would tell you life is better.
To date, hyperbaric oxygen is the only therapeutic approach that is able to produce consistent and reproducible improvements in individuals with neurological injuries.
I was serving with Air Force Special Operations Command when we received indirect fire from a 107mm rocket. They told me that I did suffer a moderate traumatic brain injury. However, after about 15 dives, it was as if a cloud lifted off of my brain. I was able to process words and thoughts much more quickly, speak with a fluid stream of thought, and communicate much like I did prior to my injury. And there was without a doubt, a significant improvement in my overall cognitive function. It was without a doubt the most significant impact to my quality of life than any other treatment that I've ever undergone. Because of that, I'm able to return to a mostly normally functioning member of society as a result.
With a global medical affiliation, the National Hyperbaric Association is focused on the integration of this treatment modality into medical mainstream.
The National Hyperbaric Association was formed in its entirety about 2 years. Quite frankly, it's a byproduct of the many, many clinics that are around the country today. We're going to put them under one big umbrella and make sure that when our voice is heard, we can make a bigger statement.
The National Hyperbaric Association is dedicated to ensuring that our nation's veterans and active duty personnel have access to therapies that can help treat neurological injuries.
We got to remember that this hyperbaric medicine is now touching every part of society, every part of medicine, cancer research, autism, Alzheimer's, aging. If we continue to go down the path of just giving, in particular, pharmaceuticals for traumatic brain injury or PTS, we're losing that battle horribly. Isn't it incumbent on us as a society, for those 1%ers that volunteered to protect our country, shouldn't we be giving them every opportunity to get better?
For more information, visit www.nationalhyperbaricassociation.org.
Thanks for joining us. We hope you'll join us next week as we continue to explore some of the significant developments impacting our lives. I'm Ed Bagley Jr.